and welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that very short break as we have returned, and we are halfway through the broadcast. We are halfway through. We just wrapped up with Sterile versus Solar and with Classic versus Cure. In this tournament, in this group stage so far, we've had a lot of 2-0s. We've had a lot of 2-0s in Massive Coliseum. It is great to see that here tonight, a lot of ace matches, a lot of game threes. We have gone the distance. Can we continue to make that a trend though? Because up next, ByuN versus Trigger. We have another TvP. If you are in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on how you think this matchup will unfold, as we are going to be dipping into the lower match. Both Trigger and ByuN have yet to win a series in Massive Coliseum. They've both had a very rough group stage. ByuN, he did lose to both Shin and Raynor in TVZs, and Trigger had a hard time as well. Did end up dropping maps and dropping games against Cure and Solar. So neither player has yet to win a series yet, and they're looking to maybe not even make it out of the group stage. But here we go. In the top right-hand corner, we have Trigger for Basilisk. And in the bottom left, we have his opponent. We have ByuN for Shopify. And the pressure is on. Again, both players have been struggling so far in Massive Coliseum, which means one of these players is going to finally get a win. One of these players will come out with a point on the board. I believe the loser of this series may no longer have a chance on making it out of the group stage. Again, this is a group stage, and 8 players will advance, 8 players will be eliminated. It is brutal in that sense. It is a brutal group stage where half make it in, half do not, and ByuN and Trigger, they are fighting for their lives right now. You know, a big shout out to the sponsors, ByuN, Honkai Star, Taido, Orderful, and ByuN. Big shout out to the sponsors here for making this event happen, for making Massive Coliseum a reality. Best of luck as we do settle into this. So I'm just dying a little bit. Alright, here we go. So ByuN going to be going for a double gas opener. It's going to be double gas here out of ByuN, which means a faster factory, means a delayed command center. Meanwhile, Trigger going for a gate cyber expand standard opener out of Trigger, a more aggressive opener out of ByuN. Now, traditionally, Trigger, he is one to open up Twilight Council. He's very fond of Twilight Council-based play in this matchup. We'll see if that continues to be the trend, or if he does dabble in Stargate play instead. Blink Stalkers is what I expect to be seeing, though. Now, we already saw a TvP earlier on Alcyone. We saw Classic just get away with so much greed on this map. I don't know if Trigger is really one to try to be that wild and that crazy. I don't think he's one to really embrace that kind of side of things, especially against ByuN. Like, ByuN is a very aggressive player himself, so it can be quite difficult to get away with that kind of greed against ByuN, but we'll see. We shall see. But now Reaper going to be dipping into the natural base. Ooh, we have our tech of choice, and it is going to be the Stargate. Again, we spoke about how this map is quite large, and I do like Stargate play on larger maps. Maps like Alcyone, maps like Radizet Station. I do think that Phoenix base play can be quite powerful just because it can be hard to punish it. But ByuN, he dips into the main base, he gets into the mineral line as well, and will he see the tech? Oh, he does. He does dip in, he does confirm the Stargate. ByuN is aware. Now behind this, Trigger has options. He can go Phoenix or Oracle. I would like Phoenixes from here. We'll see if he does dabble in the Oracle, which is a more aggressive style. Meanwhile, back at home, ByuN going for Cyclones, going for a Medevac. He has no fear. Despite the potential despite the potential Phoenixes on the way, ByuN still going for a drop. Now, as we've seen before, Cyclone drops in TvP can be quite terrifying. They can get a lot of damage done. They can just have their way with the mineral line, especially if the Protoss is out of position. It's going to be on Trigger to keep up. It's going to be on Trigger to come across and shut down this drop before it gets out of hand. And we'll see if we can. See if we can, as there we go, the drop is moving out. We have 2 Cyclones, we have 4 Marines alongside this. Again, no stim, bear that in mind. There There's no stim with this vanilla marines, but they can do a lot of damage here to the army as we are waiting for more cyclones. You have my attention. So typically you move out with 2 cyclones, but ByuN, he's waiting for an extra round of cyclones and he's waiting for a liberator. This is going to be a very aggressive push from ByuN, a very aggressive build. Ay. Now, unlike Classic, Trigger is amassing Phoenixes. Again, this is a more traditional form of TvP, a more traditional form of Stargate play, where the Protoss player wants to amass Phoenixes to deny a drop. Speaking of, medevac is revealed, only a handful of Cyclones as well, but here comes the rest of the army. Now ByuN has control of the Zonaga. Trigger, he doesn't know how committed this is. Here we go, ByuN just waiting for his extra wave of reinforcements. They are on the way. Third base being taken. Cyclones, they do arrive. And we do force Trigger back. He does have a shield battery, he does have an overcharge. Overcharge is available. Liberator going into the main. And we do just zone Trigger away from his own expansion. The third base looking very exposed. And 7 probes go down. 8 probes. That Lib is going ham. No reaction. Trigger, he's not reacting to the Liberator. We get 13 probes. 14 in the main base. The kill count is getting high. Oh my god. This is game-ending damage. 18, 19 probe kills. Trigger just now realizes, just now pulls away. ByuN, he was doing such a great job distracting. He does force a cancel at the third, and Trigger, what is there left? He lost half his workers, he lost the third base, he was completely pulled apart, and now he's all in. Now he's all in at this point. Like, there's no macroing out of this. It's not gonna happen. Trigger has to push out, but the problem is that ByuN still has an army. ByuN didn't lose anything. He forced a cancel of the third base and he backed off. Trigger going to the main. There is potential for some maybe harassing damage, killing some SCVs. He needs to, do some counter damage. We get a couple of workers here in the main. SCVs, they will fall. We get 3 of them. That's something. But we need to get so much more. Trigger behind this, going into a bay, going to Colossi. And we'll get there, but ByuN, he has a massive lead. Like, it's insane. So we don't typically get into game states quite like this. And you can see Trigger like on cams as well, especially once he realized what was happening. He looks very uncomfortable. It's just a very difficult position to be in. Everything has to go right. Like, there's a world where maybe he can get more SCVs. And here we go, 3 more workers at 6 in total. That's something. Gets a couple more SCVs. He's now retaking his third. Colossal production has commenced. He's going to be pulling back. Trigger, he's on the road to recovery here. It's a long road to walk, but we're on it. And ByuN, he's going to be hitting a very strong timing. So, Stim, Combat Shields, and +1. They're all on the way. They're all going to finish up in under a minute. And by the time they do, ByuN is going to be pushing. He may even push before it. And his push is going to hit like a truck. It's going to be brutal. As we have 1 Colossus here on top of the ramp. We have a shield battery, we have an overcharge. Overcharge can help. ByuN going to be rotating around, going straight for that natural base. Immortal does probably goes right for it. The Immortal is going to go down. That's going to be a lot of swipes here on the ByuN army. Yeah, we have no fear. We have no fear. We step on forward. We dive on what little is left here. The Trigger has. Loses 1 more Immortal. And we get into the mineral line. The probes! Not again. And we're going to be losing so many workers here at the Naturals. 19, 20 probes go down. And even if Trigger cleans up this army, GG gets called. ByuN will take game number 1. GG. Oh, the contrast. I like how we get one series where we have Classic like sipping on some whiskey, then cut to ByuN drinking some milk. And some bread. Let's go. ByuN, he's making me hungry. I'll get some food after the cast. Beautiful. Let's go. Wholesome, papi, wholesome. As again, game 1 was quite brutal. Again, it was a very aggressive build by ByuN. Unfortunately, it was unscattered. Remember, Trigger, he had control of the Zonaga, but ByuN only revealed only a handful of units at the Zolnaga, cleaned it up, and then he committed to his push. Trigger had no idea what was coming, had no idea what was on the way, and he was woefully underprepared. Not just that, but unfortunately just a very delayed reaction to the Liberator. The Liberator won the game for ByuN. That was the MVP Lib. What was it? 19, 20 probe kills on one Liberator was brutal, and in that game state, it's almost impossible for anyone to recover. Like, give us Hero and Max Packs Classic, they would all struggle from there. Just a really brutal position, and yeah, just a rough start. A rough start for Trigger. Hopefully we can bring it back. Hopefully we can bounce back here in game number 2. I do want to believe. This game 2 is going to be on Hecate. Go. As we are loading on in and spawning in the top right hand corner, we have our Canadian Protoss, Trigger, for Basilisk. And in the bottom left, we have our South Korean Terran player. For Shopify, it is ByuN. And ByuN just having some dinner while he plays, just nibbling on some bread, getting some milk. Beautiful. Power he needs to bring this home. Meanwhile, Trigger has to fight back here and now. Remember, it's a best of 3. It's a very short series. Very short series here. We have to bring it back here and now. And hopefully we can. Hopefully we can force that ace match. We've seen nothing but ace matches so far. And hoping we can get some more. There we go. ByuN once again going double gas. Once again, ByuN is going to be the aggressor. We saw that in game 1, this led into a triple Cyclone push with Liberators, with Medevacs, with Marines. Like, it was, again, very dedicated push from ByuN in game 1. We shouldn't see the same thing here. It is double gas again. That is true. We're going to see a faster factory. True again, but I don't think we're going to commit as hard. We probably should deviate away from that, especially on Hecate. Hecate is known for its defender's advantage. The reason for this is that ramp that we just saw. The ramp leading into the natural is so narrow that it's so difficult to really push up that ramp without losing most of your army. So we'll see how ByuN approaches this. We'll see if he does adapt. But now, going to be a racks into factory, as we mentioned, with that double gas. Meanwhile, Trigger going for a gate cyber expand. Standard opener, once again at a Trigger. Now, on a map like Hecate, once again, because of that narrow ramp, I wouldn't be opposed to another Stargate opener, but after what happened in game 1, it's very possible, very likely, that Trigger wants to go Twilight Council instead. We'll see. We'll see what Trigger is thinking. We'll see how he does tech up in this game. Which direction will we go in? As the Reaper is going to be diving on in, looking to get a read on that tech. Whether it's a Stargate, whether it's a Robo, or a Twilight Council, ByuN is on the hunt. And there it is, a Twilight Council opener from Trigger, which again, I do like. I do appreciate this a lot more here, especially after what happened in that previous game, especially on a much smaller map. Likewise, Trigger can be aggressive here on Hecate, can threaten dives into the main, depending on how many gateways he throws down. Now, I'll be honest, I think this is just going to be 2 gates, just 2 gate blink into a 3rd. We'll see if Trigger does throw down additional gateways. Meanwhile, we have Cyclones in production for ByuN, that starport. We have that Medevac as well, so once again, ByuN opening up with a Cyclone drop. We'll see if he commits again. So if we see a Liberator after that Medevac, I mean, we're gonna know. We should be seeing an add-on, like a Tech Lab into Raven production. But we'll keep our eyes on ByuN. But now just moving on with this first handful of Cyclones. Second gateway is on the way. So far 2 gates for Trigger. There's the Robo. And we'll see if he throws down the 3rd gateway or if he goes for an expand. There's the 3rd gate! So 3 gate blink here from Trigger, which means far more aggressive from our Protoss player. Means he's going to have an abundance of units to work with. Meanwhile, we spoke about the Tech Lab with the Raven. There it is. We have our Tech Lab, we have our Raven on the way. So ByuN isn't being as aggressive as the previous game, but he's getting to really early tech production. Oh my god. very early tank production as the first Cyclone does arrive. Only one Cyclone. We do manage to get one probe. And we get a Stalker as well. ByuN. Very good trades here. Gets even more probes. No shot. Juggling is good. We get 4 workers and a Stalker. And we don't even lose a Cyclone. Very good start here by ByuN. Prism is on the way. Trigger wants to move out. He wants to be aggressive. But ByuN, he already has a tank. Like, again, really early tank production here by ByuN. He's going to be so ready for Blink Stalkers. And of course, he scouted. He saw the tech. Oh my god. That medevac is so low. We get another 2 probes. We do escape. 4 now. Again, 1 or 2 more shots is all we need. Raven going to be coming into support. Second tank on the way. Trigger is expanding. He's taking his 3rd, but he should be pushing out. As he moves out, Raven harass here in the main base. Trigger, he needs to get some counter damage done. Now, we haven't seen the main yet, but there we go. There's that second tank from ByuN. Going to be repositioning. The main base looking a little bit exposed. Yeah, ByuN going to be pushing, which means he's not ready in the main. Trigger, he does slip in. And SCVs are going to be going down. Yeah, Trigger racing back home with those Marines. Tank comes out in time. And ByuN should be able to sort this away. But he loses 3 SCVs in the process. At the same time, ByuN is still pushing. Gets a Stalker. Let's pick up a Stalker. Forces a recall. Does force a recall back home. And ByuN's goal here with this push should be to try to deny the base. But I don't think he can. There are just so many Stalkers. Yeah, the Marine's going to be going down. And ByuN's overextending. Not respecting the army here of Trigger. 1 tank goes down, 2nd tank as well. ByuN throwing away so much. Again, maybe not expecting the recall, maybe not ready for that amount of Stalkers back at home, but he is punished for it. He does get a couple of worker kills, but losing 2 tanks suddenly means that Trigger, he's fine. Like, he is under no threat of a push. Trigger, he is stabilizing his 3rd base up and running. Up to 52 workers. ByuN going to be stuck at home. I do see ByuN desperately going for a double drop instead. I mean, he needs to make something happen here. Double drop so far unscattered. Meanwhile, Trigger, he's just containing. Trigger, he has no intention of pushing in. He's just, outside the base, containing his opponent. 3rd CC is on the way for ByuN. Oh, and we do come across the Prism. Now, did we see each other? I don't know if ByuN saw the War Prism, because otherwise he probably would have gone for the Prism kill. Instead, he's going to be committing into the main. Auto turret going to be distracting Trigger. Double drop slipping into the main base. We go for the scan. And ByuN, he's unscouted. He's out of vision. So they're going to be waddling on him, but they do get shut down. There we go for the pylon. We deny the Warpin as well. Massive denial there from Trigger. ByuN is going for the Immortal as well. He will get a snipe. He will get a pick up. And nothing shoots up. We have charge loss to defend, which means we can just pick up and get the hell out of there. Meanwhile, ByuN breaks through. Pushing towards the 3rd. Getting more damage done than the natural. That's going to be a lot of charge on slow. Trigger, he can take a head-to-head fight, and ByuN will respect it. He will back up. He was just waiting for reinforcements. Does have a tank. Army does get scouted. Trigger going to rotate over. We have 2 Mites with this army as well. How good are the Mites just going to be? Pull away there by ByuN. Okay, good trades here with the Zealous. The Nexus itself taking a lot of damage. To get the mine shot. Big connection on those Zealous once again. The double jump coming back into the natural as well. Stalker's going to get picked off. That Immortal should be able to... Sorry, the Colossus should be able to hold on. behind the mineral line, taking down the gas geyser. The drop in the natural gets cleaned up. We dive on the Colossus, but we're not going to get it. Oh, ByuN being a little bit too aggressive here, a little bit too overeager. Leads out a lot of units diving on that Colossus. Trigger holds. Trigger, he does hold on. Has been losing a lot of probes, though. That's the problem. Even though ByuN has been bleeding out a lot of units, that's true. He's been bleeding out a lot of Marines, bleeding out a lot of Marauders and tanks. But ByuN has an economy. He's on 3 bases. He's on 70 workers plus mules. ByuN, he just has a better economy than Trigger. And that's typically something that should not be happening in this matchup. That is reflected in the supplies. And Trigger, he's kind of stuck at home here. He can't really be active. If he is active, he'd be swallowed up. He's stuck at home taking it forth. He has to recover, build up his Colossus, get into Disruptors or Immortals. Second Robo's on the way. But ByuN, he has free reign. It's free reign of the entire map. Once again, is pushing. Is going to get scouted. Trigger is aware. Do we have a disable? We do not. It's going to be an anti-armor missile instead. Pushing into these 2 Colossi, it's not going to happen. ByuN has to pull back. At the same time, a Zealot run by here at the 3rd base of ByuN. A mine drop. Mine drop into the mineral lines. And cannons are going to be dealing with them. 6 SCVs go down. And how good are the mine shots? Up. Looks like only getting 1 probe. Oh, did I speak too soon? No! No reaction! Okay, that could have been so much worse. 3 probes go down. A lot of them were stacked up. 3 workers full. ByuN still has that worker lead, getting his 4th base up and running, and building up towards Ghosts as well as Vikings. Again, ByuN, he has been having some really rough fights and really rough trades. Because ByuN has been a little bit too overly aggressive, like Trigger, he's able to somewhat stabilize. We've spoken about this before, but this is very Trigger. He got up to 3 Colossi and he's not making Disruptors. Trigger, he is one that has been very fond of incorporating Massive Mortal instead. So he's going for 3 Colossi and then just Mass Immortal behind it. This is just a good way to deal with Mass Marauder. Like, we should be seeing a Marauder heavy composition from ByuN, and this is just a secure way to deal with it. It's a little bit less potent than Disruptor, but you don't have to rely as much on your Novas. And if you're not too confident, or if you feel like your opponent is just really good at avoiding Purification Novas, then this could be a good alternative. Like, MaxPact has been playing around with this a lot as well. In general, in the new patch, this is a composition that has been kind of rising in popularity. We'll see how well it can work. We do have a big Zealot counterattack. Oh, the mine shots will clean this up, though. Zealots are forced back. ByuN reinforcing. ByuN has maxed out essentially 200 supply. He's pushing towards that linear 3rd. Trigger does what? He does see the army. He's going to rotate around. He does get here just in time. As I say that, we do push up the ramp. Overcharge is popped. Mine shot's going to be going up. We have a really good concave. The EMPs! We cover so many Stalkers. And again, there's no Disruptors. There's no Storms. There's no other form of splash damage. ByuN loading up, splitting up his army. Going to try and pull apart the army of Trigger. And we'll see if he can. So about Trigger, he's holding on. He is holding, taking a 5th. And as we get ready for the next big fight, a big shout out to Thriving GG. Thank you so much, Bobby, for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. A bit of a shorter stream today. But here we go. We do dive on in. A shield battery goes down. Ooh, boy's almost being pulled. And Trigger, he is being pulled apart. On the right-hand side, Trigger is going to be able to hold on. But towards the left, he is being broken. The Stalkers, the Immortals, they are falling. And ByuN, he finds the 5th. Forces a recall, but he's getting into the mineral line. Depowers the Robo, catches another Immortal. These Marauders trading so well. 12 probes go down. And counting. Again, the push on left-hand side did achieve so much here. 17 workers over a mineral line. And even though ByuN did lose a lot of units, even though he traded quite heavily, he has an economy. He has 80 workers behind this. ByuN, he's almost already remaxed. And Trigger, he's still in the back foot. He's still stuck defending. His production depowered, can't get into additional immortal production. +3 is on the way, but we have Liberators. The freedom is coming. Liberation is upon us, and we'll see if we can make it that far as ByuN is pushing once again towards those Colossi on the right-hand side. He gets 1. He's going to get 2. Both Colossi, they go down. Very limited anti-air. The Vikings, they land. And we can just dive on everything else here. Overcharge, keeping the Immortal alive. But it's not enough. There's just too much DPS, and ByuN, he's running away with this. He's breaking through. And he will take down the 5th. 5th next is going to be going down. The boys are trying to be evacuated, but alas, the writing is on the wall here. ByuN, almost 100 supply up, and GG gets called. ByuN will take the series 2-0, winning his first series of Masters Coliseum. GG. GG, well played. Again, both of these players have been having a hard time here in Masters Coliseum, but one will finally get a win. The other, unfortunately, will take another loss, and I don't think it's possible for Trigger to make it to the playoffs now. Again, he's had a really rough group stage, and that may be the end of his run in Masters Coliseum. I hope that's not the case. We'll have a look at the standings afterwards. But things looking a little bit bleak for Trigger. Meanwhile, we're getting ready for our next matchup. We're going to be going on a short break. When we return, the highlight series of the night, Maru versus Dark. We will see you soon.